This right here is the new Hero 8, and Norm right here from Tokyo Lens was gracious enough to bring it all the way from Tokyo, Japan for me to review. And this is the Hero Max. We're gonna be doing some reviews today.
Honestly, when I saw the new GoPro Hero 8 announced, I kind of thought to myself, do we really need another GoPro? Can it really be any better than the Hero 7? Which to me, the Hero 7 was a really, really great iteration of the GoPro. It's definitely my favorite so far. And the stabilization was incredible on the 7. So I thought, is there really any difference to the 8? And as I used it, I realized there's definitely more to it than I thought. And I was actually gonna combine the Hero 8 and the Max reviews because I just thought the Hero 8 would be so simple that it would take like literally just a couple minutes. But right away, when you pick up the Hero 8, you start seeing that's a little bit different. First off, instead of having to have a cage always in order to mount it to different places, now you have the little mount built into the bottom of the GoPro. It just flips out, really handy. The only downside I did notice that it doesn't quite stay horizontally perfect. It kind of like angles itself a little bit back and forth, but it's really nice not having to have that cage just to mount your GoPro to different things. Also, the flap to get to the charging port and the memory cards and the battery, all of that is now in one section, which is really nice, and it's a little bit easier to open. I always found on the 7 you have to really jam at it in order to get it open. Now it's really easy. Everything's in one place. On the 7, I would always open up the wrong door and then be like, this stuff's not in there, and then I have to open up the other door. So another small improvement, but I do like it. There's no front-facing camera except for this new modular design you can actually add onto it. None of the mods I don't think are out yet, so I didn't have any of those to try, but that's an interesting route that GoPro is going, and we'll talk about that in a second. And one of the most important things we could look at is the image. Has the image changed at all from the Hero 7? And to me, I saw very little difference. I mean, it looks different, but when you really look at it, it's really just a difference in saturation. The Hero 8 is definitely more saturated, but other than that, it doesn't look like there's any difference in resolution or detail or any of those things. It just looks exactly the same as the Hero 7 to me. But stabilization, they're claiming, is even better on the Hero 8 than the Hero 7, which I was already mind blown with how good the stabilization was. And after doing multiple tests, it's definitely better. They've made it even better than it was, and they've done some really nice improvements, especially with the rotation. Stabilizing that rotation is really tricky, and with the Hero 8, by far, it did a way better job stabilizing the horizon, so it's not going like kind of back and forth like this. The Hypersmooth 2.0 is definitely really impressive. And then you have that additional boost stabilization, which makes it even more stable. Now, it does crop in a little bit more again. So obviously, because all of this is happening electronically, it's needing to punch in a little bit so it has some room to stabilize. And then when you go to that boost, it has to punch in a little bit more again. So it has even more room to stabilize the image, but it does a very, very impressive job. Looking back now at the Hero 7, it kind of looks like a drunken sailor at times. It's stable, but it's doing these weird little jerks all the time. And the Hero 8 literally gets rid of all of that. It is really starting to look like a gimbal now. If you're using a GoPro, I honestly can't see why you would use a gimbal at this point, because it is that good at stabilizing the footage. And better yet, it has it in all the frame rates and in all of the resolutions, except for the boost. I don't think it has it in all the frame rates, but all of the frame rates, all of the resolutions can now use that Hypersmooth 2.0, which is really, really nice. And you notice the difference. Some of those shots, I was doing those random shots of Matt and Norm doing flips and stuff, and you can really notice the difference on the Hero 8. Having that stabilization with that slow-mo definitely makes it look gimbal-like. GoPro has done it again and made that stabilization even better, which I was super skeptical. I didn't think it would be really much better at all because I was already so impressed with the Hero 7 stabilization. Audio-wise, I think there's some improvement there.
Okay, so Norm, you've never tried a one-wheel before, right?
I've never tried a one-wheel.
Actually, they're illegal, right? And
can't do them. Can't do them.
That's unfortunate. Okay, let's use this as a chance to test the audio. Is it any better on the Hero 8 versus the 7? We got a lot of wind right now too, so that's a good test for the audio. And then we'll also test the stabilization. I'll run behind him. Hopefully Norm will be able to ride the one wheel so I can run behind.
When I fall, eh?
Yeah. And we'll test the stabilization. Right now I have the 8 on the boost mode, both in wide. We'll see what the results are. Okay, you ready? Oh. All right, and then it's kind of like snowboarding for turning, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't go too fast. I don't want you to die or anything. It's not bad, right?
It says right before he falls.
Right now I'm running backwards. Good test of the stabilization. These shots are all handheld, running around on this weird looking setup of mine.
Nothing to be super excited about. I don't think GoPro's audio is ever gonna be that amazing, except again with the modular system, which we will get to that soon. Another great thing is that you now have linear mode in 4K. With the Hero 7, you could only use it in 2.7K. So that's a really nice addition if you're using the linear mode a lot. Low light wise, I didn't see any improvement. Looks exactly the same, except again, just added saturation. If you just add saturation to the Hero 7, it literally looks exactly the same to me. And then they added a new time warp effect where you can go from a time lapse to real time just by pressing the button on the back on the screen. So that's really handy, really easy to use. But the effect, I don't know, it's kind of lackluster to me. I think you really do need to go from a time lapse to slow motion. If you were able to go from that time lapse to like 120 frames per second or even 60, then it would be really impressive. That effect would be really, really cool. Plus, we're missing the motion blur. I really wish we had some motion blur. But again, a nice little new feature to have. Battery life was better on the Hero 8, but I'm not sure if it was just because the Hero 7 had an older battery, but it is actually a new battery on the Hero 8. You can use the older batteries, but it's a higher discharge new battery, so you're not actually gonna get all of the features of the GoPro camera if you use older batteries, which is really interesting. I actually don't know what features you lose. I tried to research it and I couldn't find which ones, but that's kind of interesting. You gotta keep that in mind. So you can't use all of your batteries. Well, you can, but you're losing some features. And then we get into the new modular system, which they're really pushing, and you can tell they're trying to really market this for the vloggers, the YouTubers, the people that are filming themselves. So you can basically upgrade your GoPro by adding on a light, a microphone, a front-facing camera, and use it like a little vlogging camera. But I'm kind of honestly skeptical of this route. I'm not sure if it's the best way, especially since the iPhones now are doing the ultra wide, and a lot of people are gonna have the 11 and 11 Pro. And I wanted to do a comparison of the GoPro Hero 8 and the 11 Pro to see what are the differences there.
So one of the things I'm curious about is how does this compare to the iPhone 11 Pro, because it's a very similar field of view. They have that super wide, ultra wide, whatever they call it. And so should you just get an iPhone 11 Pro instead of the GoPro 8? I don't know. Also, I guess we could test audio right now because that might make a difference to you. But I always have my iPhone with me. Do I need to carry another camera, the GoPro, with me if they look very similar? Especially with stabilization. What do you guys think?
I hate to say it, especially because I'm the one who brought you the cameras, but I'd probably stick with the iPhone 11 Pro unless I'm doing something deep in the water, right? So,
Yeah, right.
Or unless I need to mount the camera to something.
I kind of hope the iPhone's a little bit better than the GoPro.
You're just rooting
Just for me.
I feel like the stabilization is going to be a little bit better on the GoPro though, especially in
Mind you,
this
the iPhone isn't
boost.
bad.
Quick test of stabilization. How shaky is it compared to the iPhone here?
That's not a test. The real test is if I race you to lunch.
All right. Ah!
I don't know where we're going.
I don't know either.
At first glance, when you look at the two cameras, the iPhone footage definitely looks way better to me. It does a better job of having a lot of dynamic range, but then still keeping the exposure values, for example, of the faces much better straight out of camera. Audio-wise, it's a little bit of a toss-up. They just sound different. Neither are super good. But then stabilization-wise, even though the iPhone 11 Pro has really, really good stabilization, also the GoPro is still much better in terms of stabilization. When the iPhone 11 Pro and the 11 came out, I really thought that was gonna hurt GoPro sales in a big way. But now that they're starting to kind of up their game in this vlogging scene for the GoPros, I'm really curious to see which way it goes. I can't see myself doing that, using that modular system too much, but there are people using GoPros to vlog, and this would definitely make their footage sound better and be a lot easier to capture with the light add-on and that front-facing screen. Okay, so I was gonna combine the Hero 8 review and the Max, but I'm starting to realize that there's more differences than I first thought. At first I was like, nothing's really changed, but they have changed some things. So I think we will review the GoPro Max another day. What do you think about the 8 and the Max so far?
So far, the 8 isn't all that different. It's got a bunch of features that I like. The Max.
I just said it was very different, and you're saying it's not that. I'm just kidding.
I like the form factor. I like the fact that things like flip out. I
Yeah.
like the extra boost. Like I did this running scene through Tokyo with it. That was cool.
Thanks for the footage, by the way. All
No
that
worries.
Tokyo footage. It makes my video look much better. It's a Tokyo Newmarket, Ontario collab.
And then the Max itself, like it really depends on how it comes. For me, it's going to be the app. Because
Yeah.
I'm so used to using Insta360 and the app is so easy to use and so comfortable. I feel like the Max's footage is going to be a higher bit rate, maybe a little more beautiful, but it depends on how everything's going to come together in the edit of it. So it's that workflow, right?
So far, I haven't touched the Max at all. I haven't recorded at all, so I don't know what it's like, but I'm very curious because I have been enjoying the Insta360 One X a lot, and the Max I feel like is like they're competitors now. So I think it's time to get some food now, but thank you so much, Norm, for bringing over the 8 and Max for me to review. Guys, go check out his channel. I'll link it down below. Appreciate
I
it.
guess I'll just see you guys over there. I'm waiting.
Waiting.
So there you go, the Hero 8. I thought it was gonna be a little bit of a meh, just another GoPro, but it is an improvement. Would I upgrade and buy a new GoPro if I had the Hero 7 right now? Maybe if you got some extra cash and you use your GoPro a lot. I don't use my GoPro that much, so I probably won't upgrade it. If you're on the 6 or anything older, definitely buy the Hero 8. I would, if you're thinking about buying a new GoPro, the Hero 8 is worth it. I would for sure skip straight to the 8 instead of getting the 7. So there you go, that is the Hero 8, and I'm gonna be also reviewing the new Max 360 camera. I'm very curious because I do think that is the way to go with action filmmaking. 360 cameras, and you just pick out your frame because you're capturing everything. You don't have to worry about which way is the camera pointing. So stay tuned for that video. If you like this video, hit that like button and comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought of the footage and would you buy the Hero 8? And also I would love to know, is something like the iPhone 11 gonna replace a GoPro for you? How many people are using a GoPro for real action stuff where you need a rugged little camera? And then how many people are just, you know, vlogging? Or are you gonna go with the modular system? I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Anyways, thanks for watching. I will see you guys later.